guys. I believe we are live. I'm back with episode 3 now of MMA Mondays. I'm trying to figure out where the camera is. I kind of have a different setup going on here. But hopefully this time I'm not going to have my dog barking in the background. I won't have any text pop up. I can't guarantee the text, but I'm going to try. But this past week, we actually had a pretty busy weekend, a pretty crazy weekend with between the Jake Paul and Ben Askren and the UFC. It was pretty nuts. Not really the outcomes I was expecting, especially in the Ben and Jake fight, but it is what it is. It's just kind of crazy because I don't think I think now because I'm still gonna be riding that wave saying that Jake's not a fighter. I mean, he did look good against Ben Askren and he knocked him out in the first round, but I mean. I'm not sold on him. I don't know. I'm just not sold on him being a fighter, and I feel like there's gonna be a lot of people that are upset with that because they'll be like, well, you said he hasn't fought any real fighters. He just fought some dude that was a former UFC fighter, a former world champion, Olympic wrestler, all this stuff, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, you're talking about a former wrestler, a former MMA world champion whose base was wrestling, who had zero hands, and I mentioned his hands were god-awful, probably the worst in the modern UFC history. But that's what happens when you step into a boxing ring. You don't play boxing, and I don't know what Ben Askren was going in there with. I mean, he did come in pretty out of shape, and Jake Paul was pretty in shape. I don't think that really played a big difference in the overall skill. I think Ben just isn't that good of a boxer, and on top of that, I think it was a lot slower. I mean, whenever you saw that sequence that actually knocked Ben out, it just seemed like he hit him. He was like a 1-2. He hit him with a jab, and then like he didn't even really react to the jab, and then he just came right over top and clipped him right on the temple and just rocked his head. Which is another thing too. A lot of people are talking about how that fight was rigged. I don't understand in what world, what fight you were watching to think that fight was rigged. I could understand it in the sense that if you're saying the fight was rigged to where when the fight got called off, maybe he should have let the fight go on a little bit longer, and maybe they were just rigging it for Jake Paul to win because, oh, he knocked him down, all right, let's call it off. I could see that. I was actually saying before the fight, if the fight were to go to a decision, there is no way that Ben Askren would win a decision. Triller would find some way to either make it a draw or make it to where Jake Paul wins because Jake Paul is their moneymaker. They're gonna keep using Jake Paul, and he's gonna keep putting on shows with Triller, and he's gonna keep bringing in pay-per-view buys. And obviously, if he loses to Ben Askren, then that's gonna be money lost potentially down the road for Triller because they could just keep promoting him as this undefeated guy, 3-0, 3 knockouts, and keep putting him up against people. I can't talk. And obviously just keep it going and keep the flipping circus riding, which is what's going to happen. But, I mean, that's why I think you could say that if it was rigged, you could say it was rigged in the sense that as soon as they dropped him, they called it off. Because I think there was maybe, I don't know exactly how much time was left. Or I'm going to go back and rewatch it here in a minute. I have it pulled up. But I'm going to go back here in a minute and rewatch this. And kind of just see, break it down, like pretty much show you that it really wasn't rigged. Obviously, I don't know 100%, but I'm willing to bet the house and literally every last dollar in my bank account, everything to my name that this wasn't rigged. I don't know. I just think it's just, I'm losing my train of thought, but I'm just gonna go ahead and pull this up because I had something good that I was gonna say, and I'm really losing my train of thought the more I talk about this. But I have it pulled up now. I'm trying to figure out, can you guys see this? I don't think so. So let me go over here. I'm getting a little better at this now, so it's not super crappy. I got 2 screens, so it's not, you guys don't have to see the in-between when I pull up the menu to switch screens. So somewhere, let me see how much time was left. Because I really think they could have let the fight go on. I don't know where it is. Hit him again with the overhand. This right here was the punch that really put him away, this overhand. He just got out of the way. Right there. Literally, he gets up, and how much time's left by the time he gets up? Right here. They're standing here, and he's telling him to get back. It looks like, as of this point right here, the fight's going to go on. Ben's up on his feet. I mean, he looks rocked, and it's probably a matter of time, but he's got a whole minute left, and he just turns and looks at him, and he's like, oh, you're not good. He looked like he was about to start the round back up. He gets back up. He did fall back into the ropes, but that does happen when you get knocked down. He's on his feet, and it's not like he's like leaning all over the place. He's ready to fight. He's definitely rocked, you can tell. But I think you could have let it go at least to the end of the first round. That's just my personal opinion. But I want to see if I can find like a slow-mo. There's a bunch of slow-mos. I'm going to go, oh, there's Snoop. There's a bunch of slow-mos that you can look up of like, of like ringside shots of people that were there, like people, their personal cameras or whatever they recorded, and you can literally tell like you can tell that it was as clean as a punch as it gets because like the way his head snapped, that's literally how you knock somebody out. When you cause the brain to snap back and forth, that's what causes your brain to smack. Here we go. I got this pulled up. Literally debunking the Jake Paul, Ben Askren rigged speculation, conspiracy, whatever you want to call it. Promise you it wasn't rigged. This decides to load. Right there. Right. Let's see if I can get that lined up. He throws the jab, and he doesn't really react. Well, I don't know if it was a jab. It was a cross. Or that's the overhand. I'm sorry. Throws the jab. Yeah, I mean, he does react, but it's not anything crazy. And then right here, he clips his head. Look at the way he falls. His legs go up like that. He fell right on his head and his shoulder. That's not rigged. And if it is rigged, they must have paid him a lot of money to take that punch and take that fall, because that's about as clean and legit as of a punch it gets. Like I said, I just don't see how you say that's rigged. Anybody that does say it's rigged, please let me know in the comments like what your thoughts are, what you believe, why you believe it's rigged. Because I got the comments going and I'm willing to debate right now. But I just don't see it happen. I think all in all, though, I mean, it was a circus. It's kind of how I expected it to play out. On top of that, with the Triller production was actually kind of like over the top. It was cool because like I feel like they're trying to think of it in the right way, where they're like thinking of money, and they're doing a good job thinking of money because they're bringing in a lot of different stars, all kinds of different names: Snoop Dogg, Saweetie. I don't even know. There were so many flipping different performances. There was literally like in between, like if you go back and watch my video where I talk about okay, the Frank Mir's fight's about to come up in between whenever the fight before the Frank Mir fight and then the actual Frank Mir fight, there was probably like a legit hour and a half of concert time in between there. And I think that's a bit ridiculous because like if you're having people pay for a pay-per-view and they're watching because they want to see the main event and you're just stretching it out as long as you can, you're literally doing an hour in between fights. And then sometimes there'll be like an hour in between fights, then you'll have a fight, and then literally 10 minutes after you have another fight, and then it's an hour. It's just really dragged out, and there's no schedule to it. Like the UFC, it's pretty regimented. You know, if you're watching a UFC fight, you're gonna watch the fight. Maybe there's gonna be like 10 minutes of filler in between, if that, and then you're gonna get your next fight. And then if it's a main event or a co-main, then you're probably gonna get 10-15 minutes of just like filler, and then maybe 5 minutes of promo, and then the actual fight. But you know what you're getting, and it's very regimented, and it's to a T, and you know like how fast and how it's gonna flow. With this, there was no telling. Like I was looking on the apps, like the betting apps, because it usually tells you like when things are gonna go live, like when the actual event's gonna happen, like the actual fight. And it was saying that the Ben Askren Jake Paul fight was gonna happen around 11. It didn't even happen until like probably I think past midnight. Same thing with the Whitaker and Gastelum fight. I was thinking the Gastelum fight was actually gonna happen later than the Jake Paul fight, but it ended up finishing later, but it was just because it went longer. It was a 5-round fight versus a 1-round knockout. But I was literally thinking that the Jake Paul and everything was going to be over before the UFC main event. I was thinking I was going to have time to watch the end of the UFC, which I really didn't have a whole lot of time to watch the UFC, which sucks, which is what I'm going to get into next. Talking about the UFC, I really didn't get to see a whole lot. I think that the Whitaker and Gastelum fight kind of went how I expected. I think Gastelum could have posed some threats, and I think he could have early, and he did. He was tagging up Whitaker. He was doing a good job with those overhands, kind of like Jake Paul. And you could see Whitaker's eye was getting a little red, especially some of those hooks too. There's like what is that, a 2-3? I don't know. I don't really know striking, but I think that's what he was doing. It was like a cross and then lead hook, and he was hitting him with that. But I think all in all, I think Whitaker just showed he was probably technically the more skilled fighter, and I don't know. I think that's kind of how I saw that fight playing out. I really didn't see any of the other prelim fights. Yeah, I'm looking at the comments right now. What's up? Seeing it now. Rigged by Ben to where he never really trained or prepared to went in to get a check. That is also true. I think, honestly, Ben might have played a lot of us because, like, that's what he just said immediately after the fight when they were talking to him in the back. Like, when he was getting interviewed, he seemed fine. Like, he seemed pretty cool about it. He was like, I got knocked out by Jake Paul. It's embarrassing, but he seemed pretty cool because, like, I'm going to go home with my $1 million. I'm pretty content. And then that was, I mean, nothing, like he said, nothing's going to change for him, if he wins or he lost. For Jake Paul, it's a lot different because he's a lot more famous and a lot more mainstream, and he's going to get roasted if he does lose to Ben Askren. But if Ben Askren loses to Jake Paul, what's the big deal? He's just, I guess, another meme, and it probably doesn't really bother him. He's not the type of guy that gets bothered by that kind of thing. But I do think Ben definitely could have prepared a little bit better because it does look bad. You come in, you're saying, like, oh, I'm not worried. This dude's a YouTuber. He's not going to knock me out. That's literally what Ben was saying. Ben was like, I'm not concerned. This dude's a YouTuber. He's not going to do anything to me. and he got knocked out in the first round. But I think maybe Ben took it a little bit more serious. Mind you, too, Ben just came off a hip surgery, and he literally said he was sitting on the couch for like however many months, 8 months, and that could also play a factor. But Ben was not in shape by any means whatsoever. The dude, like when he would bounce around the ring, you could see his lats because there was like a fold where his like lats rested like over his shoulder blades, and you could just see it when he'd bounce. It would like jiggle. It was like his lats were talking to you or something on either side. It was kind of weird. He looked way bigger. Even if you look like his UFC fights, he came in pretty pudgy on his UFC fights, but this is a gazillion times more pudgy than he ever came in. He literally looks like the Michelin tire man. I don't know. He's really repping hard for the Love Handle Muffin Top gang, but it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good if you're representing the MMA community against Jake Paul in a flipping boxing fight and you get knocked out in the first round. I don't know. Anyone else? Since I got 7 concurrent views right now. If you guys watch the fights, give me your thoughts on the fights. I want to hear people's opinions and what you guys thought of the fight, who you guys were rooting for. Initially, too, when I was going into this fight, I was saying that Jake was going to knock out Ben and it was going to be bad. I said that in my very first video. If you guys go back and watch when I said it's a video titled "This is Bad" or like reacting to Jake Paul versus Ben Askren announcement or something like that. If you go back, it was back in like January, I believe. January, February when I made this video, and I was saying it was going to be really bad for Ben. And then I made another video like probably 2 weeks ago because I started thinking about it. And, I'm trying to ride for my MMA guys, and the more I think about it, I'm like, well, he's an MMA fighter. So I kind of started switching, and I started riding towards Ben, and I was thinking Ben was going to knock him out. I was really riding with Ben, but I still believe, like, deep down I was pretty nervous. I didn't think it was going to happen the way it happened, though. I didn't think that he was going to get knocked out that bad in like the first round. I was not expecting that. I was thinking maybe to get past the first round and then maybe he would just keep putting it on him and eventually Jake would get something through and catch him. Maybe he would just deteriorate his chin with good shots. But I don't know. He just clipped him with one good overhand. Like I said, though, I'm still not sold on Jake being a legitimate fighter. If you watch some of the things he does, it is like mechanically and technically there's still a lot of things off. And I mean, it's kind of expected with a dude that's only been boxing for 2.5 years or whatever, however long he's been boxing. His movement's kind of weird. Like when he circles out, he has weird movement when he circles out. I don't think I have any footage of that to be able to pull that up. But he looks weird when he circles out. And there's a lot of weird things he does too. Like when his main offense really is just defense, like counter punching. He just circles back and then tries to throw a big bomb, or it's just a big 1-2, like a big jab overhand, big jab overhand. He doesn't really like throw any combinations. It's not like anything like combo to the head and throw finish to the body. He doesn't mix it up at all. It's really just like I said, very basic. Either he's going backwards while you're throwing something and then counter punch, or one overhand, just literally repeat and rinse. It's kind of similar to like the Tyron Woodley strategy, which is kind of going to get me into this next part of what I want to talk about is who is Jake Paul going to fight next. I would love to see him fight Tyron Woodley. I would love for that to happen, just because I mean Tyron Woodley is he's lost all 4 of his last fights. He literally is like probably. If you want to talk about someone like in terms of like being able to promote it, you're not going to get any good promotion out of that of a dude who's lost 4 of his last 4 fights. But I think Tyron Woodley, you'd be able to sell it because he's like one of Ben's good friends, best friends, his training partner, the guy that was in his corner. There's videos of people in the backstage when Tyron went up to Jake's locker room or his corner, whatever, before the fight. They were talking trash to Woodley, like pretty much saying like, oh, you don't know about fighting, you don't know about boxing gloves, you don't know about these, like talk about like just boxing, you don't know about this. And whoever his coach was like, oh, you don't know I can fight though. I'm like, I don't know who the dude is that was saying he could or couldn't fight. Cormier was on Twitter saying like you can't fight and you're gonna pay for that if that's really what you think. So I don't know who the guy is, if he actually has credibility or not. If I don't know who the guy is, that may lean to the fact that he might not have credibility because I'm kind of a nerd in this kind of world. But I don't know who this guy is, so he actually might be someone credible. I just don't know. But you're talking like that to Tyron Woodley saying, oh, you can fight to Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley can take you to the ground. He can beat the snot out of you. He can take you to the ground and submit you. He can take you to the ground, literally do whatever he wants to you. He can clinch you, elbow you, knee you. He can stand and bang with you. Literally anywhere the fight goes, he can hurt you. You may be good in one facet, and you may be really proficient in one facet if you're a boxer. If you really are a boxer, you may be good enough to hang in there with him for 30 seconds or whatever on the feet if you were in a real fight, a legit fight, if that's what we're talking about. But it literally, as soon as Tyron Woodley goes for a takedown, you're screwed because you have 0 takedown defense. The dude is a former college wrestler, a former world champ MMA fighter you're not going to stop his takedown. He's going to take you down at will, and as soon as he takes you down, you're done. You're toast, and that's it. So if you're going up to Tyron Woodley telling him that you can really fight, you better be able to back that up. Or you better put your money where your mouth is and have Jake fight him next, because you're talking all this trash. This dude is a legitimate fighter, UFC champion. At one point, Joe Rogan was saying he could be the greatest welterweight of all time. I don't believe that, but that was a legit thing that came out of Joe Rogan's mouth at one point in time. I mean, he beat some legit killers, beat some very good strikers, Robbie Lawler, Darren Till. These are just people coming off the top of my head. Stephen Thompson, like very good strikers, and no one like in different planets than Jake Paul. So I think Tyron Woodley would be able to hang, but he can't go into it with the mindset that, you know, he's fighting a YouTuber, because I think that was part of the reason that got Ben in trouble, is because he was going into it with the mindset, I'm fighting a YouTuber, I'm not going to lose, I'm a former world-class athlete, I was ranked top 10 in 4 different sports in the world, this dude's not going to sniff my jockstrap. That was the mindset I think he came in with, and he paid for that mindset. If Woodley comes in like he's preparing like a real fight, because Jake Paul's preparing like it's a real fight, because, you know, he knows these people are coming to prove something, and these people are legitimate fighters, and they could hurt him, so he's coming in like he's fighting for the championship. And I think a lot of people need to come in with that same mindset. If Woodley fights him, he needs to come in with that mindset. And I think Woodley would take his head off, because Woodley kind of has a similar game style where he'll just touch you, big overhand, touch you, big overhand, rinse and repeat. But Woodley is definitely more diverse of a striker. He can definitely mix up. He can throw combinations. He can move better. He can do more than just counterpunch. He can do more than throw overhands. And he can survive. He can take a punch a lot better than Ben. And I guarantee you he's going to come in a lot better shape than Ben. I got more people talking in the comments. Someone said, I never watched the fight. I just knew it was going to be bad, so I just watched UFC fights instead. That's true, bro. It was literally like a circus. Like, I was literally just saying, it was a complete circus in between the Triller performances, and on top of that, the commentary was god-awful. I think Mario Lopez and Snoop Dogg were single-handedly backpacking it. Mario Lopez, just because he was the only one that actually seemed like he had his wits about him and wasn't severely under the influence. And then Snoop Dogg is just Snoop Dogg. Like, it just makes it funny and makes it entertaining. Like, the Mike Tyson, it wasn't as good as the Mike Tyson commentary, but it's just Snoop Dogg. I mean, it's going to be a good time if Snoop Dogg commentating. But it was just a little over the top. Like, it's cool. Like, I enjoy, actually. I really like kind of like the laid-back setting that they have with, like, the Triller commentary and the whole Triller setup, I guess, because they're not, like, being super uptight and saying, like, everything to be super professional or whatever. They're literally saying whatever. They're cussing, dropping F-bombs, which I'm not saying that like, I want to hear that, but it's like, it just makes it funny and it seems more relaxed. But it is kind of weird when you have people coming in that are like severely inebriated and under the influence, like Oscar De La Hoya, when he came in and was talking, like, he was saying things during the Frank Mir fight, and Frank Mir was talking about, like, I could get very upset because he was making like USSR comments, things like that, because Frank Mir is Cuban. And he was saying things like, I don't know what exactly he was, what all he was saying. He just kept saying USSR versus USSA, which I don't know. Oscar De La Hoya had to be severely under the influence, whether he was drunk, he was high, he was coked out. I don't know, but he was on something, and that was kind of annoying because he just kept saying the same thing over and over again, and that does kind of get annoying. Like, it would just be cool if you could just like not listen to that and just watch the fight. It may make it a little bit better, but I kind of think it just feeds into the whole thing. It's just all really one big circus between the two people fighting in the main event, the commentary, the flipping hour concerts in between each fight, and then the fight before this fight with the dude getting dropped with a body shot. That's another thing that you missed. There was one dude that got hit with a body shot to the ribs, completely clean, legal shot, way above the belt, literally as clean as, if you watch the replay, it's as perfect as a body shot. Literally is a very clean, perfect body shot. Dude falls like a sack of potatoes, goes straight to the ground, rolls on the ground, rolling around, and calls an illegal shot. They never go to a replay. They never look at it. I don't know if they can do replays in boxing. I know they can in MMA, but they never went to a replay. They never looked at it. They just said, okay, it was whatever. It was a low blow or something. You can't continue. They stretched the dude off in a stretcher from a body shot. The dude's laying there claiming it was an illegal shot. When you go back and watch the replay, it was clear as day. It's literally like if I went and just closed my fist and punched you in the eye, and you said I poked you in the eye, but my fist is completely closed. It's 100% legal if my fist is closed. So it's like, it's as blatant as it gets. It is like being clear that it was completely legal, and the dude just like, I don't know. It was dumb because like it completely just like milked the timeout even longer, which is a little bit annoying because the dude is rolling on the ground for a solid, I don't know, 12 minutes, rolling in pain, acting like he just got shot with a shotgun on his ribs. I don't know. It was a good, like, all in all, I mean, I'll pay for it again. I'll watch it again if they're going to put on another fight with Jake Paul. It is a circuit. It is a complete, I don't even know, a zoo in terms of, like, the people they have there and the production. But it is good, and it is entertaining, and people watch.
But I mean, really, in terms of like entertainment, like actual legitimate entertainment, it kind of sucks. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Jake Paul Ben Askren. It wasn't rigged, in my opinion. Well, not my opinion. I think anybody that has a brain bigger than a squirrel knows it wasn't rigged. But then, like I said, I talked about the Whitaker and Gastelum fight. I think it kind of went how I expected it to go. I didn't really get to see it. I saw some of the fights earlier in the night, but all in all, I really didn't get to see a whole lot of the card. I did watch the card. I was watching the card. And I also posted my bets for that card, and I do apologize. I said in that video, too, the universe might be trying to throw some shade my way and trying to humble me just because I'm putting my bets out there. It wasn't that best. It wasn't my best night. I did win some bets, and I did lose some bets. I think it was like 50-50 on the night in terms of bets. So if you guys tailed my bets, I apologize. You guys probably either broke even or probably made just a little bit less money than you went in with. But again, I mean, you can't. There's certain things you can't really prepare for, and I mean, for example, Ben Askren getting hit with that overhand, you just don't expect certain things, and they happen. So that was kind of the problem with some of the bets with the UFC this past Saturday. There's certain things that just happen, you don't expect them to happen. So I'll be back on it this week. We have UFC 261, which is the Masvidal versus Usman card. It's a pay-per-view. I'm going to have plenty of bets. I haven't looked at any of the lines. I haven't looked at anything yet. So if you're asking me for bets right now, I don't have them. But if you do want me to post them, I will post them. All you got to do is comment. Let me know. I may even just post them just to post them. And I'm not asking for anything. I'll post my bets. So if that's something you guys are into, let me know. But I'm actually going to go ahead and pull up this card right now so I can go ahead and break down the card and see what fights we have, because I don't know what fights we have outside of like the 3 title fights and obviously the main event. So I'm going to try to pull this up. Give me 1 second. Hold on. I'm getting used to this, because if you guys want to see what I got going on here, I can just pull this around. There we go. So I got a little bit of a different setup going on. I got this going on. I normally just operate it all from here, but now I pulled everything up on here on the monitor. We've got Inception going on in my hands like a gazillion times. But I'm trying to switch back and forth. I don't really have my own like young Jamie like Joe Rogan does or anything like that. So I'm trying to switch back and forth, keep the conversation flowing, and not have my camera fall over in the process, which I believe it may or may not. It's looking like it's going to fall over. I don't know. But let me pull this up, and then I have one more thing after this. There's a video I'm going to react to before I go. So let me go ahead and switch this over. Boom. We are back at it like a crack addict. Let's go to the very early prelims. Presented by DraftKings. I'm a shareholder, and that's who I bet with. If you guys actually, you know what? If you guys haven't signed up with a sportsbook, you guys are wanting to bet or whatever, I'm gonna go ahead and drop my DraftKings referral link in the description, because that way, if you guys haven't signed up for a sportsbook or anything and you guys are wanting to bet, this way you guys can sign up if you are 21 plus. And I'm not encouraging anyone to bet whatsoever. If you guys aren't into betting, I wouldn't do it, honestly, just because it's one of those things you could potentially get hooked into it and not be fun. I don't want to give that spiel. Everybody knows, but if you haven't done it, then I wouldn't recommend doing it. But if you guys are looking into getting into it, I'll drop my referral link in the description below. That way you'll get free money from signing up for that. I think you get like a 100% deposit bonus. So if you put in $20, you'll get $40, whatever, etc., etc. Put in $100, get $200. But anyways, I'm gonna pull up these fights. Let's take a look at the early prelims. A lot of these fights I'm gonna just run through until we get to the main card, because a lot of these people I don't know. Jamie Simmons and Johnny Munoz, don't know. I can see Jamie's face. I'm going with Jamie. Ariane and Liang, Ariane, and I don't know. I'm going with Ariane because I can see her face. Jeffrey Molina, he was coming off of the Contender Series. Pretty tough dude. I don't know who the dude he's fighting. I don't know if that's his name or if that's... I don't know. But I'm going with Jeffrey Molina just because I've seen Jeffrey Molina fight. He's pretty tough. Coming off the Contender Series, and I believe this is his first fight in the UFC. Kazula Vargas and Rongzu. What is up with these dudes with like one-liner names, bro? These dudes like WWE guys. I'm going with Vargas just because I can see Vargas's name or Vargas's face. Kevin Natividad and Dana Bartrigo. I apologize if I messed that up. I'm gonna be going with Natividad though. I watched Natividad fight whenever I think he fought Brett Johns or someone in his last fight, and I was actually riding with Natividad. I thought he was gonna win. Or Natividad. I apologize too if I'm butchering that name, but I think I'm gonna ride with him just because. He did lose. He ended up getting beat, but I do like him. He's pretty tough. He's a pretty scrappy dude. He got knocked out pretty bad. He got laid out, if I remember correctly, in his last fight. But I like him. I'm going to be riding with Natividad. I apologize again if I'm butchering that. Tristan Connolly and Patrick Sabatini. I'm riding with Connolly just because he was that one dude that came in on short notice, fought Michel Pereira, and actually beat him. Was like very undersized. He fought Michel Pereira, who's a 185 pounder. He's fighting at featherweight, which is like a 40-pound difference, and beat him in a short notice fight. It was first fight in the UFC. I like him. He's a cool guy. Underdog. I'm riding with Tristan Connolly. Brendan Allen and Carl Roberson. I think I'm going to go with Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen's pretty tough. He's a pretty underrated dude. He's pretty well-rounded. He can strike. He can grapple. Actually, is one of the guys besides the two people this year to beat Kevin Holland in the UFC. Beat him with a rear naked choke. Dwight Grant and Stefan Sekulic. I'm probably going to be riding with Dwight Grant on this one. I don't know much about Stefan. Alex Oliveira and Randy Brown. This is actually going to be a pretty good fight. Randy Brown can knock you out. Alex Oliveira is obviously a very exciting fighter. I think just experience-wise, I think Randy Brown's got power, but I think experience and ability and skill, I think Oliveira can put it all together. He's fought the best of them, and he's got plenty of UFC fights. I'm going to be riding with Oliveira. Mind you, though, no research has been done to these, so these are literally just me looking at them and just firing off from what I know. Going into the main card, the very first fight in the main card, we have Anthony Smith, dude who's still fighting back in competition, probably just because everybody in the top 5 has beat him. We have him facing off against Jim Crute. He'll probably beat Jim Crute just because, he beat Devin Clark last time, who I believe was ranked like 15 or unranked or somewhere around this, that not close to Anthony Smith's level of competition. So he'll probably beat him. He'll probably like submit him or something in the first 2 rounds is my guess. But Jim Crute's pretty tough dude. He actually might end up submitting Anthony Smith if somehow the fight goes to the ground. Maybe he reverses position, submits him. But I'm going to be riding with Anthony Smith. He's just fought better competition, more experience, probably a little bit more well-rounded. And then going into the second fight on the main card, you have Uriah Hall against Chris Weidman. I like both these fighters, but this is not a fight I want to see. Chris Weidman, I like Chris Weidman, but I genuinely believe Chris Weidman's better days are definitely past him. Uriah Hall is a tough dude. Just knocked out Anderson Silva, and Chris Weidman's kind of in that same area as Anderson Silva. A little bit later, a little bit after, but nonetheless, definitely past his time. And Uriah Hall is not somebody I want to see fighting Chris Weidman just for the simple fact that it'll probably knock him out. Uriah Hall's got serious power. He's got a phenomenal spinning back kick. If you haven't seen Uriah Hall's spinning back kick, it is one for the ages. I would look it up. There's like, I don't know why I said it's one for the ages. You can look it up though. It's pretty good. If you find like sparring videos of him, like literally he just murders people's ribs and livers with his spinning kick. Like he's murdered so many people. Even like when he goes up to the head, just putting people down with his spinning kick. He's a pretty good striker. I think if the fight goes to the ground, it could be Weidman all day, but something tells me that Weidman's probably going to get knocked out, and I really hope to God, if that's the case, Weidman retires or the UFC cuts him, because Weidman, I love him to death. He's a great fighter, but I think his better days are past him, and I don't think he's probably not going to win a belt again, especially with the people at the top of that division. Then we get into our first of 3 title fights of the night. We have the women's flyweight title bout. I have some people in the comments, they want to see my bets, and yes sir, Shredded Gold, what's up? First title night of the fight is the flyweight title bout between Valentina Shevchenko and Jessica Andrade. Probably just gonna be riding with Shevchenko. Andrade is probably one of the tougher fighters in the women's flyweight division, but Shevchenko is just on another level. I think there's a weird thing with a lot of the women's like especially the women's champions. And just the women's divisions in general, there's a very obvious skill discrepancy and skill gap. There goes my AirPods in between like the champions and maybe like the number 1, number 2 contender and everybody else, especially the champions. So like if you look at the champions in all these weight classes, you have Valentina Shevchenko. I don't really see anybody that's going to beat Valentina Shevchenko in her weight class. The only person I could see beating Shevchenko in the entire UFC women's roster that like she could potentially fight would be Amanda Nunes, just because they fought before and she's beat her before, but they've had very close fights and she could beat her again potentially. But I think Shevchenko, I think like Nunes is probably the closest fight for Shevchenko. Other than that, there's probably no one else that's that close of a fight for Shevchenko. Same thing with Zhang Weili. She put up beating Joanna the way she did, that was a really close fight. It went back and forth, and really, you could make an argument that it could go either way. But I think Zhang is a pretty tough fighter. She's ferocious on the feet. She's fast. She's powerful. She's got very good striking. Nama Yunus though is very good. She's very technical. She's very well rounded, and she's long too, which may pose problems for Zhang. I don't know. This is a very tough fight. For me to break down and pick, I like Nama Yunus, so I'm gonna be picking Nama Yunus. But I really wouldn't be surprised if Zhang Weili won this fight. And if Zhang Weili won this fight, I think this might just prove for her to be one of those people like an Amanda Nunes, a Valentina Shevchenko, where it's just that like she's just going to be a champion for a while, and there's just going to be people that are going to keep coming, keep getting beat, and there might be people that are former contenders that she's fought already, doing second fights, doing rematches, whatever, just because like it's just going to end up being the same situation with Amanda Nunes, where a lot of these women divisions are going to get cleared out just because the skill gap is so big in between the champions and the contenders. In between, like even like the number 1 and number 3 people are like the journeymen or like the gatekeepers, I guess, like your Holly Holm type people, I guess your Andrade type people. Even though Andrade actually was a champion like not even that long ago, like a year ago, I don't think she's probably going to be a champion again. I could be wrong. I may be wrong this weekend, but I think there's just like a weird, there's just weird groups of people. Like you have your champions, and then you have your gatekeepers, like your Holly Holm type characters, and then after that, it's just a big gap, a big drop off, like to everybody else. And then going on to the, like I said, I'm picking Namajunas for this fight. And then for the main event, I have Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal. This is a very interesting fight because you could say it could go a different way because Masvidal's not taking this on a short notice. He's not cutting 20 pounds in however many days, and he's having a full training camp. He's going to come in, whatever, good cardio, and, being prepared wrestling, even though I think he was prepared for wrestling previously. It's an interesting fight. I like Masvidal. Personally, if you're asking me, you're putting a gun to my head and you're asking me to put all the money in my bank account on this fight, I'm going to say that probably Usman's going to win again just because Usman's a pretty dominant guy. He's very well-rounded. He can strike with you. He can take you down. It doesn't matter where the fight goes. And he's bigger than him. He's got the reach, so he can just pose problems to where Masvidal's got a close range. I don't know. I mean, my gut wants to tell me Usman's going to win, but I'm going to be going with Masvidal just because I like Masvidal. He's a phenomenal striker, has phenomenal defense. A lot of people don't give him credit for his defense. To me, he's like the Pernell Whitaker of MMA. Like, if you literally watch his boxing, like I say boxing, but like his striking defense in MMA, it's very reminiscent of Pernell Whitaker where he's just slipping out of the way. It's just very, it looks really showy and cool. It just looks very entertaining and it's fun to watch. If you go back and watch, like if you look up like Jorge Masvidal defense, it's very entertaining. He's got very good defense, and on top of that, his striking's phenomenal. And I don't know. I think his grappling, his takedown defense, being held down might be an issue because I think once you get Masvidal down, that might be a different story. I'm gonna be riding with Masvidal, but honestly, my gut tells me Usman. If that's what you guys want to know. But those are my picks for UFC 261. And then my Mac is going to die. But before my Mac dies, I want to do one more thing. If you guys have anything else you guys want to say in the comments, let me know. I got people saying what's up. We got 6 concurrent viewers right now, so I got 6 people that could say something. I just hit my mic with my nose. I got one more thing for us before we go away. I have somebody that's been spamming my flipping comments, asking me to react with this for my mom. But my mom's not here right now, and it's been hard to try to get she's at work right now, and it's hard to try to get her to do a video right now. So I'm going to be doing this by myself. I apologize, but I'm going to be reacting to it. You've been asking for it, and I'm reacting to it. I even liked you. I evened out your ratio on likes. But here it is. It is Big John Matua versus Tank Abbott. Check this out, though. I apologize. You guys probably can't hear the audio. I'm going to take these out so you can't hear the audio. There we go. Tank Abbott. This is from one of the original UFCs too, so this could be a complete circus. I just soaked myself with coffee. You guys just watch that. Oh well. Most athletic person that's ever stepped in the octagon. Tank Abbott looks like I don't know. It looks like he would coach, like he'd be an O-line coach at a flippin' high school football team or something. So his name would be Big Country. Flippin', what's his name? Roy Nelson. I might as well wipe that coffee up before it dries. I'm gonna skip past it, so I don't need to watch these. Striker, boxer, wrestler, headhunter, stand-up fighter, pit fighting. Pit fighting is one of my favorite styles of fighting. Alright, let's see John Matua. I'm getting a weird eggy fart smell. It's like coming through my nose right now. I know it's kind of a weird thing, but strange. It doesn't look fun. 400 pounds. Quick and athletic. Well, apparently Tank Abbott's the best athlete to ever step in the UFC, so we're going to find out who the best athlete is. He's big and athletic. Tank Abbott, Big Tank, is the best athlete. Nice homegrown boy. I like my country fried chicken and my mashed potatoes. It's probably going to be his meal of choice after this. Yeah, it's the gas station clerk they got from the Circle K across the street. Brought her over, put a flipping UFC shirt on. Was like, hey, hold up this sign for us. And Michael Buffer. Bruce Buffer was still working a day job probably at this time. Oh, I'm getting a heads up warning. Oh! Hold up, folks. We gotta chill for a second. I can't pause it. There we go. I'm gonna chill for a second. I'm gonna skip a little bit ahead because I'm getting some word from my YouTube that I'm getting copyright detected. I'll just let you take a look at it. Tell me that there's some copyright detected, so I'm gonna figure some business out so I can still watch this. I don't know how YouTube must be like watching me like a flippin' hawk. Alrighty, my camera's about to fall over. This sucks. Bear with me, folks. I'm getting used to this new little setup. Alright, I'm gonna like skip ahead to the actual fight. Actually, you know what? Nah, I'm not gonna do this because I don't want to get my flippin' I don't want to get flippin' canceled by YouTube for just trying to react to this. So I'm gonna I apologize to who was that? Let me go back so I can pull up the fella's name. I apologize to my friend. He's in the comments somewhere. He's in here somewhere. My computer's being very slow right now too. This is very annoying. I don't know, dude. You know who you are. I apologize. I tried reacting your thing, but I'm not gonna get hit with a copyright strike. I hope you guys did enjoy this podcast, episode 3. This was kind of a circus. I was trying to get used to this new setup, but I hope you guys did enjoy. My flow wasn't that good on the talking today, but I will hopefully come back a little bit better next week. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, please be sure to drop a like, share this, send it to someone else you guys would also know and enjoy. If you guys have any ideas, video suggestions, things you guys want to see me do, let me know in the comment section below. If you guys haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. It really helps my channel grow. And until next time, I will catch you guys either next Monday for the next podcast, or if I see you guys sometime this week for another video, which I probably will see you this week for a UFC 261 reaction. I may see you before then, but as always,